In the past year alone, I performed in France, Monaco, Germany, and the United States, where I live. Hi, my name is Zoe Schramm, I'm a clarinetist, and let me tell you about how I did it. So, really my travel story begins in my undergraduate degree at Stanford University, where I majored in music and I concentrated in both clarinet performance and musicology. And my first travel experience during my undergraduate was to Bermuda during my spring break of my sophomore year. I traveled there with the Stanford Philharmonium. We stayed for about a week and we performed so many concerts, and some of which included a really wonderful violin soloist. And while we were there, we got to enjoy the beautiful Bermuda beaches too. After that, finished out my sophomore year, and then during my junior year, I was really inspired to submit for the Stanford University major grant, in which I presented a research proposal for my senior musicology thesis, in which I would do research, archival research, in some of the institutions in Vienna and live there for the summer in between my junior and senior years of college. I was accepted and granted this research, so I flew out to Vienna where I lived for the summer and did archival research in a variety of institutions, but most famously the archives of Golden Hall in Vienna or Musikverein Wien, the home of the Vienna Philharmonic. So being here really opened up the opportunity for me to study with members of the Vienna Philharmonic while I was living in Austria, and also have some great performance opportunities while I was there. So after that, I traveled back to the US and completed my senior year of college. And literally only hours after graduation, I went to the airport to finish out my time at Stanford by traveling with the Stanford Symphony Orchestra, the other major orchestra on campus, and we flew directly to Paris, France, and spent the next 2 weeks performing all around France, starting in Paris and then going through the south of France, finishing in Monaco and performing a series of concerts. And it was just a really wonderful way to finish out my time at Stanford and tour around beautiful Europe, playing some wonderful concerts with my best friends from undergraduate. After that, I traveled back to the US for a few months before being really unexpectedly called to sub with Berlin Opera Academy. They were familiar with my playing and had someone drop out very last minute, so I was called and had to fly the next day out to Berlin to perform 2 operas in 2 weeks. I was super jet lagged, but the whole experience was really great and really exhilarating to be called in on such short notice and have to play such fantastic repertoire in Berlin. After that, I moved directly to Boston to start my master's degree at New England Conservatory, where I still am, and I'm about to start my second year. Thanks so much for following along on my journey as I travel and share my experiences as a clarinetist and woodwind teacher.